This is Chats with Ryan Trainer from Tassie Bushranger and
PJ from Addicted to Grow, and welcome. Hey, Mr. Ryan. How are you, man?
Good, yourself?
Yeah, good. I'm loving your hair. Look at your hair.
It's long enough I can do something with it again.
This is awesome. So good. How are you?
Cheers. Yeah, pretty good. Been only just got home this morning, so it's been a long morning. But yeah, it's good because the library do a thing they call rock and rhyme, where they like play songs and nursery rhymes and that for the kids. And today was the first one back since all the COVID stuff. So yeah, it was good. Good to go to that. Still a bit weird because you got to socially distance. Everyone has to keep their kids on their knees rather than them all running around together.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Can you hear PJ?
Hello. Hello.
Say hi.
Hello.
And she's starting to get enough hair, we can do something with it too.
Yeah, look at those little spikes. That's awesome. That's awesome.
How are you going?
Yeah, really good. Yeah, things are going well. I'm just going to get the old camera out here for the Australian Dads Network for us.
Yeah, got the new hoodie on.
Got the new hoodie on.
I should have put my shirt on. I forgot about it.
Go on. Have you got it close? I was going to say, yeah, put it on for the photo.
There we go. Quick wardrobe change.
Yeah, nice one. Nice one. All right. Give us a sec. We'll just. I might be a little sneaky as well.
Yeah, cool.
Just throw a little sneaky in there for Mr. Liam. Where's the? Oh, here it is. Australian Dad's Yarn Barn. Take a photo. Here we go. Yeah, done.
Cool.
Yeah, nice. I was just going to post that.
I got through about half of the podcast you did on the JA show.
Oh, yeah?
Didn't quite finish it last night though, but it was good.
Yeah, cool. What did you find? What did you find from what I was saying? Did you see a rhythm or a pattern?
I mean, lots of it we have discussed similar stuff, I guess. One thing which resonated with me particularly, because it's something I'm constantly working on at the minute, is the whole positivity thing of like having a celebration instead of a meeting, or saying you've had a productive day instead of a busy day, which is why when you first asked me how my day had been, I sort of tried to catch myself a bit.
Yep.
Yeah, it's sort of the days and weeks have been flying past lately, but also just sort of I was noticing the last few weeks when I went to PT on a Monday, you'd like say, how have you been? And I'd just say that I was really tired and stuff, and Grace wasn't sleeping well was my automated response. And yeah, I mentioned to Amanda just the other day that I feel like that's what I'm telling him every time. And she said, well, just don't then tell him. Like, it is that easy, really.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. It's also challenging. I'm not going to lie about it.
And yeah, it has been a challenging few weeks, which I guess like all the positive mindset stuff, it's a lot easier when things are going good to be positive. And the last few weeks, I guess, have been a bit of a test on that, with things being a little harder, with Amanda being made redundant. Grace sick, because we didn't talk last week, so I don't think we have talked since then, but we ended up taking her into the hospital at 11 o'clock at night because she wasn't well. And then we got there and only one parent was allowed in. So Amanda went in and I had to wait in the car anyway, which was hard, but also frustrating in that I could have actually stayed home and got some sleep ready to deal with her the next day while Amanda got some sleep. But instead,
Yeah.
I was trying to snooze in the car instead, which wasn't great.
Yep.
And yeah, so because she had a 1 year flu vac, so we were worried it was to do with that, but it was that she had a double earache. So,
man.
yeah, so we had a week of her just really not sleeping well and just really clingy, hardly letting us put her down at all.
Yeah, right.
Which in a way it was good that Amanda wasn't working. It meant we could take shifts, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, Amanda's now actually picked up 2 jobs. She just started this week.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, so that's sort of a big weight off for us.
That's huge.
Yeah, so she's got 2 jobs, both related to COVID, funny enough. So lots of people are losing work because of it, but she's actually gained work.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So one job, calling everyone that's in quarantine here in Tassie and sort of checking up on them. And then the other's doing contact tracing for those in Victoria. So ringing people to see who they've been in contact with when they've got it or been in contact with someone. And yeah, doing that real mapping of who's been in contact, who needs to get testing and that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually really insightful.
It's interesting.
Yeah, super. Wow, that's really cool.
And,
I like it.
Yeah. So she only just started yesterday at 1 and the other one, she starts the training on Sunday. But yeah, both casual. And one of them has 2 shifts, the 9 to 5, and then the other one's a 2 till 10. So she's hoping to pick up some of them where she can still spend some of the morning with Grace and then work through the evening. So, yeah, it should be good. Obviously, they're only going to last as long as COVID. So in a way, hopefully she doesn't have the job for too long. But certainly going to help us out for the meantime.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was our big positive and win this last week.
That's really good, man. That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So what I was thinking about is, so I did a live last night about seeking out new challenges, right?
Yeah.
And obviously seeking out new challenges helps you grow from, grow from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, because you're then searching for it, right?
Yeah.
But one of the 2 points that I made was that believing that you're smart, thinking that you're smart versus gaining knowledge. And the other one was knowing it all versus learning new things, right? So very, very similar concept, right? Believing that you're smart, right? Trying to know everything versus learning something and gaining knowledge, right? So very, very similar, just 2 different phrases put 2 different ways, right?
Yeah.
Since COVID, we've already spoken about how your life's changed and what you've evolved into doing. What is something that you have noticed you actually needed to grow in during COVID?
Particularly from COVID, I would say, well, I don't know about have to, but one thing I wanted to grow in was my knowledge on growing plants. It's sort of something I'd always wanted to do, the veggie garden and everything.
Yep.
And I guess put off. So yeah, realizing that you can't get better at something unless you do it, I guess.
Yeah.
And that you got to start with somewhere. I always sort of thought I'll buy a few acres one day and I'll learn. And realizing that there's no reason why I can't start now. Like it's really just an excuse and getting into it. So, I mean, to a large degree, that is a fun recreational place where I wanted to learn and grow. And I guess on the more serious side, growing as a parent, which has obviously been happening since Grace was born, but I guess during COVID, when I when I stopped working and took on a larger role of it, it became more important. And on what you were saying about realizing you need to learn, Amanda, I said something about improving as a dad the other day, and Amanda said, but you're already a great dad. And I said, the reason I'm a great dad is because I don't think I've reached this pinnacle of dadhood where I'm not trying anymore. Because I think that when you stop being good, in that realizing you can always do better and always striving to learn more and work on your emotions as a parent, and I think, like we were talking about the other week, as a spouse in relationships, when you stop trying, that's when you're not doing good. So I guess continuously trying to grow in those regions.
That's really good. I really like your input there on two areas of your life. So let's go back to the growing your own veggie garden. Why is that important to you? Why is that something that you wanted to achieve?
So to me, self-reliance is something I've always been interested in, to be able to provide for myself. And so that's why I always thought I wouldn't do it till I had the scale where I could actually become fully or largely self-reliant. Obviously at this stage, I'm not growing enough for that. But it's the peace of mind for me knowing that I can grow it. And also just the getting outdoors thing, which I obviously love. So being able to get outside and be involved in that natural process of growing things, I guess I find rewarding.
Yeah. I like it. It's really good. And, you know, as you're saying this, like especially the word self-reliant came to me straight away. I immediately thought to myself, because we're currently renting, I immediately thought to myself, what could I do? And then I just thought about those little veggie boxes you can buy.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, my auntie nearly turned 3/4 of her backyard into a veggie garden. I should actually take a photo of it, actually.
Yeah.
I'll take a photo of it. It's massive, right? And she grows everything you can think of. And I was like, hang on, there's no difference in me teaching my boys to make one on a small scale. You know, one little tomato plant here, or even just buy a pot big enough to support one tomato plant.
Yeah.
You know, like a range of pots and like a lattice work for the snow peas, you know, little tiny lettuces, little tiny like it just, you know, and the more I'm saying it, the more it's coming to mind. And I'm like, nothing's stopping me from doing this. So, you know, like I think you've just, you know, and if the audience is out there listening, obviously, what are your thoughts as an audience on self-reliance? Is it something you've thought about? Is it something now you might implement? So, you know, if you're watching and you drop us a line or drop us a comment and see what you think.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
And that's something I learned further. Like when I started doing this veggie garden, the whole time I was putting it together, I had the headphones on, listening to gardening podcasts and hearing the number of people that grew up to 100%, but certainly large percents of their veggies just in urban blocks. And even just in pots, there was one guy who every summer he parked out on the street because his driveway was where he grew all his veggies in pots. And in the winter when things weren't growing, he cleared the pots away and would park there. But during the warmer months, he grew large amounts, I forget the exact percentage, but heaps of food just in his driveway. So since I even started doing this, I really realized just how much you can grow even just living in the suburbs.
Wow.
There's no excuse of thinking you need acres, really.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Like that is literally something. And you know what's so funny? The more, like I said, the more that I think about this, because my auntie obviously had to buy everything in the pots. She has like a stack of pots.
Yeah.
So now that you're saying this, like I just need to go and get the seeds, some potting mix, you know, a watering can with the boys, a couple of them, and her pots, and then I'm good to go.
Yeah,
like,
pretty easy to get started.
Yeah, I think, you know, I'm really going to jump on board and I'm going to take some photos and share them with you and we'll see how we go. Obviously, winter's going to be a hard time. It's cold here.
Yeah, so probably
Like
another few
minus
months
ones,
before you really
yeah,
start.
minus ones and stuff like that. So I can prepare.
And with kids, even if you're not, even if it's costing you money rather than saving you money, you're not really producing that much. I think with kids, what they can learn from growing and the excitement for them, like watching the tomatoes, flowers appear and then they come out green and watching them change colour. For the kids, I think it's a great experience for them and to learn about the growing process.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome idea. I love it. I really enjoy. I'm really looking forward to doing that.
Cool.
That's awesome. Thanks, Ryan. I didn't really think about it on that scale, but now that we've had this conversation around it, I think it's really going to change the end of winter going into spring because the kids will really enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, another few months and it's time for all those things to go in.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. All right, so now we'll go back to number 2, which was, parenthood. And I really like what you said about even though your wife says, you're already a good dad or a great dad, your mindset, I really love the way you said that, I know I like that, but I want to ever continue to get better. It's because I haven't got to a point where I don't think I'm not good.
Yeah.
So expand on that for the audience. And I guess let's have a conversation around, for you, it's new to you. So I love the way that you're thinking about it. But what I'll share after you go first, I'll share some challenges that I've had where I've caught myself as if I felt like I haven't been a good dad. So as you expand on what do you think, no, let's think about it for the audience here. From an outsider looking in, because Grace is only young.
Yeah.
From an outsider looking at other families, if there was a dad that was out there listening and he was struggling, what would be some tips that you would give him from a perspective of the basics? Because as Grace is little, at the moment, she's almost just needs the basics, right? But the basics is what sets the foundation. So if you saw a dad that was struggling or a dad was struggling and he reached out to you, what would be some of the basics that you would give him?
Look, I think one really important thing is that people maybe don't talk about enough is giving yourself time and credit. I think people, particularly with really young kids and babies, feel like they can't take time for themselves. And I think maybe, well, I guess it's both parents, but for dads, they feel like they can't be leaving mums to do it. Because in the past, dads would leave mums to do everything, and now dads are trying to be more involved. And so I think there is more guilt for dads now than in the past for going to the pub to have a beer. And I'm not saying do that every night, obviously, but taking a bit of time to do your own things and your own passion, and also making sure your partner has that time to do their things, because mums often won't take time at all. And I know, like, Amanda's going away for the night this Friday and she's feeling so guilty about it for leaving us and leaving me with Grace when she's worked all week. But like, working's not recreational time, so obviously for her to have a night away is completely fine. And I think making sure your partner's aware that they can have time too. So you're taking that time, as we've talked about before, making sure your cup is full so you can fill up your kids' cup is important. And sort of connected to that is also to sleep, which is probably the biggest thing I've struggled with, is getting enough sleep. I've always been very used to having 8, even 9 hours sleep at night before Grace was born. So when they sleep during the day, take the sleep over cleaning the house. Again, just making sure your batteries are charged, ready to go. I guess really looking after yourself, like the actual looking after them, while it's tiring and it's very much full time, I think it's not necessarily hard in itself, other than you've got to recharge to make sure you're ready to do it, or you find your patience isn't there if you're overtired. Yeah.
I really like that. And this is so funny because before, when I was asking you the question, I was already thinking about my answer as a parent who sometimes feels like they've lost themselves. And the fundamental or the basic that you just spoke about is exactly the same as what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like literally exactly the same. Like it's important for us to recharge our batteries and to do things for us.
Yeah.
And even for our partners, it's really important for them to go, because you're right, work time is not recreation time. You know, and I've already mentioned, you know, to Nicole, I'm just like, hey, I'd love to go to Tasmania for, 16 days. You know, and she's kind of like, oh, really? Like, okay. And I'm like, look, there's no harm in us going together. I just said, like, let's make a thing of it.
Yeah.
So we're still having a conversation around that because it'd be awesome to come down there for that amount of time. But I was sort of saying it to her. I was explaining to her in a way that it's like, the friendship that we've created is still not recreational based.
Yeah.
There's an element of sharing. There's an element of helping other dads out there that'll listen to this. There's an element of, and then there's going to be the time when it's like, cool, like now let's actually just go for a walk and a fish and a stroll and a talk that's not recorded, or, it's completely, it's not, I guess what you could say, it will be recreational. Does that make sense? Like it'll be totally recreational. The next thing that I was going to share is I asked a couple they were having their 60th wedding anniversary. And I said to them, what's the trick? What's the trick? What's the key? What's the key to this 60 years of anniversary?
Yeah.
And the lady spoke, and the man had a smile on his face, like a humble smile. And the lady spoke and she said, son, it's number one, communication. She goes, it doesn't matter how much you think you're going to hurt their feelings, tell them the truth all the time.
Yeah.
No matter what. They're just like, if you don't want to hang out with them and you want to just go and go in the backyard, just explain to them that it's like, it's not you. I just want to go out and do this, and I'll come back in later. And as long as there's clear communication, it's like, you don't have to explain yourself, just nice and simple. And I said, okay, yeah, because everyone talks about communication is the key, right? But the way that she said it is like, it's not just communication is the key. She was like, never ever worry about you're going to hurt their feelings. Just tell them the truth.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's different. Because sometimes we communicate in a way that it's like, oh, I'm afraid to hurt their feelings. But it's kind of like, just tell them the truth.
Yeah.
And get it off the plate, because it's only your truth, not theirs, right? And I was like, wow, that's really powerful. And the second thing she said is exactly what you said. So I was already thinking it, and that is sleep.
Yeah.
And she said, this was her words, she goes, make sure that you have a big spare bed in the house, because it's not wrong to not sleep together, but if he's tossing and turning or she's snoring or vice versa, it's like, get up and sleep in the other bed, because the sleep is more important than laying next to each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. She said, because when you wake up in the morning, if you both wake up fresh, it's a great way to start the day, versus sleeping next to each other, waking up and saying, oh, I was tossing and turning and this and this. And it's kind of like, if you slept in the other bed by yourself, you wouldn't have tossed and turned, because you wouldn't have woke up if you're a light sleeper or a deep sleeper. And yeah. I love the way that you said sleep, and that comes back down to exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah, that's interesting in that a number of people that I used to work with would not sleep with their partners. And to me, I would find it weird, but they would say like they can't sleep with them. Like what's the point in being in the bed if, as you say, you're not going to get a good night's sleep? So yeah, that definitely makes sense. Especially,
Yeah.
I mean, it's all right if you go camping and you have a bad night's sleep for a few nights, but we're talking about 60 years of bad sleep if you were to try sleep together. It's going to catch up with you.
Yeah, and this is really great. One thing definitely is share this. I reckon share this podcast straight into the ADN group and see if Liam approves it. But
yeah,
I think it's so important that other fellas know this, because they could be thinking exactly the same as you. They could have this fear about like, oh, but hang on a minute, like I got to sleep next to my wife or my girlfriend or my partner. And it's like, you know, but yeah, if you're having a troubled sleep, like nothing's gonna commend having a bad sleep next to your partner versus going and just sleeping in another room so that you can actually have a good sleep.
Yeah. So I think got to walk with it.
That's okay. Look at her, she's loving it. Hello, Grace. Hello.
There he is.
Boo.
Yeah, I've always been an advocate for a good night's sleep, but really realizing how important it is since Grace has been born. Like in the past, maybe I'd have a few or a bad night because I'd stay up, I'd be out or whatever.
Yep.
But the continuous night after night of getting less sleep, yeah, definitely has a big effect.
Yeah.
You are sleeping pretty good again now, aren't you? Now your ears
it's good.
They're trying
That's
to catch up a bit. But yeah, that just not being ashamed to go for a sleep for an hour or so in the day when she goes to sleep, or if Amanda and I are both home, often one of us would go for a sleep for an hour or two during the day.
Yeah.
Just to make up, and it makes a huge difference.
Makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Makes so much sense. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, mate. It's been a good chat today. I thought about those two questions today and I was like, yeah, I'm going to ask Ryan.
Yeah.
What's your, do you have any other questions on your mind?
I should have written stuff down when I was listening to your other podcast last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found the ants thing, which I think you have once briefly talked to me about.
I'm going to say, actually,
we could probably do a whole talk on that sometime, maybe.
Yeah, and then what I'll do is when we do that talk, so remind me, when we do that talk, we'll put a link to it so that people can either buy the book or we can give out, you know, if people respond, we can give out 5 books or something.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and I'll send you one. I'll send you one.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to read of.
Yeah, if you give me your address, I'll actually send you one.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, no, you're welcome.
Yeah, so sorry. Have you got anything else big on this week?
Let's have a look on the calendar, actually. I've got I really want to finish my online portal this weekend.
You got what, sorry?
I've got an online portal that I'm building, which is going to have it's going to have all of my videos. Yeah. It's going to have all of my programs. It's going to have all of that. It's going to be it's going to be available to the audience, to everyone. Yeah. But there'll be no coaching on it. There'll just be the programs. So, you know, obviously if you're listening and for yourself, you'll be able to have access to the website and you'll be able to go through all my programs that I deliver. But the thing is I'll just be delivering them. I won't be coaching you on them.
Yeah.
So the best thing is that people can get all the information, but if they actually want to be coached, that, you know, to actually put the information implement it, they'll have to organize some kind of coaching. So yeah, once that's done this week, that's about my biggest thing I've got going on.
Yeah, cool. So it's going to be finished this weekend?
It should be finished this weekend.
Yeah, awesome.
Yep. And I'll give you access when it's done.
Cheers. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Sounds good. We don't have much. We don't have much on this week, do we, Grace? No. Yeah, just Amanda's going to the other end of the state for a night away. The people she was the manager of at the company she just got made redundant from, they've all out of their own pocket paid for an Airbnb for a night away to thank her for all her work. So,
Wow.
yeah, sort of just shows how good a manager she was. That, yeah, the business has nothing to do with it, but they've just said we want to do something, and because she's the manager for the state, they basically picked somewhere in the middle of the state, so it's not too far for everyone.
Wow.
So she's got that Friday night with them. Yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah. So
It's really cool.
yeah, I think it's really shows how well she's done. But it'll be Grace and my first overnight without her. So she's
that'll be awesome. That'll be so much
worried
fun.
about leaving us, but we'll be right, won't we?
You just need to put on. What was one of the movies that I showed? My boys when she was. I think it was School of Rock.
Oh yeah.
She might not get the start, but when they singing and they're dancing, she might get that bit.
Yeah, she does love all the musicals.
Yeah.
Mamma Mia is one of her favourite movies to
Oh,
watch.
that's cool. That's so good. That's so good. Actually, if you're in the audience and you're listening, like, think about your kids and what were some of your kids' favorite songs, and pop that in the comments.
Yeah, let us know. It'd be good to hear. All right, I better go get her lunch, I think. I think that's why she's getting upset with me.
All right, my man. You do that.
Good chatting with you. I'll talk.
Always.
Talk soon.
All right. See you, mate.